It has been a couple of months since the famous samurai, Momotaru, went out to defeat the demons once and for all. His grandparents are awaiting him patiently at home, though their reason for it is the reward they are expecting for their grandson. One day, Momotaru suddenly comes back and introduces his demoness wife, the demon princess Yura, to them. They are astonished that their grandson has gone astray to achieve peace and forgot about the promised treasure they were to receive upon the demise of demons. Hearing her rumbling is naught but distress to her ears, and she instantly threatens to destroy their little home in case they don't shut up. The other two instantly apologize for opening their mouth before Princess, and as she is tired out due to the long distance she had to travel, she immediately orders Grandpa to bring her some alcohol so she can relax. They are assured that she must be a dweller of hell because no sane person could utter such words against the elderly. Grandma tries telling Momotaru to do something about the situation, but he instead is worried that her clothes are a bit too revealing. Since the demons always wear revealing clothes, she plans to adhere to the tradition and wants Momotaru to dress the same as the demons. However, just as he holds her hand to tell her that she has to follow the Japanese tradition, her face is flustered and instantly repels him. Damn, revealing herself is fine, but hand-holding is where they draw the line. Momotaru contemplates for an hour about what he should do for the day and concludes that the trash should be thrown outside as it's the burnable trash day. Normally, a husband would take it out since the wife does all the chores. However, since he doesn't expect Yura to have ever done chores, he wonders whether she should fulfill this duty. Just as he approaches her to ask this, the other snaps out at him and demands that he write it in his will if he is going to ask for her favors. She also expects him to write and leave all his worldly possessions to her as she is now his lovely wife. Seeing him shiver in cowardness, she decides to fulfill his request. Although she also has a demand that needs to be seen through, Momotaru decides to hear her out, and she wants him to carry something as well since it wouldn't be fair if she had to do all the work by herself. As long as it means she will hear him out and do some chores, he doesn't mind lending her some help here and there. However, it doesn't prove to be the best of bargains and he has to carry her on her shoulders while she holds the trash. At this point, just taking out the trash would have been more useful for him than having a mass of flesh sitting on his shoulders. Yura enjoys this moment to the best as she constantly mocks him, and Momotaru has no choice but to tolerate her. She can easily break his neck if she tries, and wants him to remember who the boss is. Suddenly, he turns around, and while she is expecting an argument, it proves much more costly as he starts licking her thighs and enjoys looking at her embarrassed face. As the two are already married, Momotaru sits down to discuss what they should call each other. Since love evolves with time, he feels that marriage should be the ultimate evolution, and the two best come up with nicknames for each other. Momo has his own fantasies of his ideal life and expects that his plan will be executed unscathed, allowing him to breathe freely and live a dream. However, Yura isn't really interested in this as she would just prefer to call him Bastard. Momotaru is disappointed that his wife had been referring to him by that name until now, and wants to hear something sweeter from her lips. After analyzing his name for quite a while, Yura does come up with a name, however, much to the other's disdain. Yura ultimately comes on top, and Momotaru is forced to accept that they can call each other by whatever name they want. They have important things to worry about, though. Yura is curious as to how a lowly being mustered up such courage to call the goddess he worships by her name, and Momotaru feels defeated since this is nothing more than a bit of tomfoolery. He needs to quickly come up with a name to save his dignity, and all he comes up with is a generic "my woman." Surprisingly, this works on Yura as she is embarrassed that he uttered such words. He has a reply ready for this occasion and instantly tells her that spitting nonsense is not one of his qualities. He wanted the perfect that would depict their relationship, and nothing could get better than this. Momotaru has his own fantasies about his relationship. He expects nothing but the perfect bond to blossom between the two. On the other hand, Yura tries arguing that their relationship just isn't the same as other impure relationships. However, he tries to calm her by referring to her as his woman, and she instantly smashes him into the wall, making it clear that she isn't his woman just because he is her man. A person doesn't die when he is killed. Momotaru goes out to a cafe where he encounters his friend, who congratulates him on his unexpected marriage. He can already feel the distant look in his eyes as if he had visited the deepest pits of hell and returned unscathed. Even though he is a bit scared, he still manages to ask how he met his wife, and Momotaru starts telling the tale of how he laid eyes upon his soulmate. While he was on his extermination quest of demons, Yura asked around about his presence, and her subjects revealed his location to her. Even though she is a bit farther from him, he can already feel the heavy pressure of her presence, and she instantly makes her presence known by smashing a nearby rock. Yura announces herself and is amused that a lowly human has buckled up to take the demons of hell by storm. She feels attacked that she was perceived as weak enough to be trampled by a human. However, just as she glances at Momotaru, she is flustered to find him bathing in the nearby pond. Instead of having hostile feelings, she is embarrassed that he is flashing at her and questions how someone could come naked before her. As she slips over due to shame, the other demons come to her rescue and plan an attack on Momoteru, who is completely defenseless against them. On the other hand, Momoteru feels that her fellows aren't quite as strong as her and wants to deal with her accordingly. Just as the others are about to unleash their strength, she decides to run away and the others follow their commander. Momoteru has instantly fallen in love with her. After they get away, Yura reveals to the others how strong he felt even though he was practically defenseless. The other demons also agree, and she is surprised to find them with extra clothing. After inquiring, it is revealed that it was Momoteru's clothes, who are now furious that they took them away. And that is how he met his wife after being glanced at nakedly by a woman and having his clothes stolen away from him. The other can only feel how terrible this must have been for Momoteru, but can't he understand that she was just being a pervert? While Momoteru is out, he decides to buy his wife a souvenir as she might be feeling lonely and hungry. He immediately drowns in his imagination and begins thinking about how she would feel after seeing him return with a gift for her. Yeah, man, she will definitely let you eat herself after you treat her to something decent. Good luck. After gaining some motivation from himself, he decides to buy extra food as well and heads home with a happy face, expecting a grand reception. However, reality just doesn't hit the same as fiction. After he returns home, she instantly feels that he is hiding something from her, without considering the fact that he might be planning on surprising her to fill the void between the two. She instantly eats all the dangos, and now Momoteru lies deep in despair as he wants to try them out together with her. At least, she does admit that it was delicious, and now Momoteru has to take out the trash, as usual. He so craves seeing the wife inside his mind manifest into reality, but with nothing left, he decided to confront her and tell her how he felt. He wanted nothing but some good time with his sweet and cute wife, and the other was instantly perplexed by his response. Bro definitely had the riz, and now he informs her how expected her to act. After hearing him out, she can only express her enragement that he can't see through the real her. Momoteru bluntly responds that the imaginative Yura is also assertive, but he loves her more there and wants her to have some self-control. Momoteru is heartbroken that he couldn't get to spend time with her while eating, and seeing him feel so down makes her pity him. She decides to serve him some food she made for herself, and his grandparents inform him that she is just awaiting him to come home and try out her cooking. Momoteru is exhilarated at hearing this, but just when he tastes it, all his excitement fades away like ashes in a storm. Eating the food and leaving the food is the same thing to him now, just the punishment is different. After a long day of work, Momoteru is enjoying his snacks while reading and comprehending the invaluable worth of the Monkey Crab manga. Reading such literature could only mean that he is having the best day of his limited life. While Momoteru was in Onigashima, he survived great fights, often going unnoticed, mainly due to one incredible thing he had developed: the ability to sense danger. Utilizing his skill, he was able to predict Yura's temperament and immediately sensed that his best day suddenly turned into a worst one as he was forced to shut down his favorite manga to hear her nonsense. He is fully aware of how angry she is. However, he questions his sanity and what could be the reason, so he can present a countermeasure, as the abyss responds by engraving nothingness into his mind. After a bit of contemplation, he realized that there could be 3 possibilities for why she would be angry. The first one would be him eating his food while goofing on the futon. The second one, of course, would be the manga, as she is just too ignorant to appreciate such writing. The third would be laziness, as he was too invested in the manga to be aware of his surroundings. Momoteru finally concludes the second reason and assures her that they can read together if she wants. After informing her that it was his mistake to hide it from her, the other is shocked that he wasted so much money on a goofy manga, and Momoteru is disappointed that his predicament was incorrect. Yura snatches it away from him and starts reading herself. She then goes on to inform him that it was him eating on the futon that led her to this stage. And Momoteru is astonished that his wife has countered him with a valid argument for the first time. Just when it seemed that he had lost all hope and his defeat was inevitable, he opened up his eyes to see his sweet wife appreciating the manga he so excitedly bought. Since she has finally realized the true art of good writing, she lets him off this one time, and Momoteru feels comfortable with his victory. He sees an opening and instantly decides to strike with the third option he had earlier. He gently tells her that he has warmed up the futon just for her, and tries assuring her that it would be a great idea for the two to sleep together. And her response, of course, the ever-aggressive Yura chooses to pick the most sane option and punches him. Momoteru's friend once again stumbles into him, and seeing him busy compels him to ask about his activity. The other instantly responds that he is doing research to understand Yura's ecology, as he struggles to identify just what a wife is. Seeing his vain efforts, the other has no idea how to help but still advises that he compliments her often and checks out her reaction. "Thanks, Mr. Nice Guy, very cool advice." The first proposed case is that he should check her response to being complimented, and Momoteru instantly tries it out. However, she gets suspicious of his weird movements, and after finally confronting him, Momoteru tells her that she is cute. Now for her reaction. She just gets flustered a bit and tells him that she already knew that. Momoteru disappointingly informs his friend about this, and the two have to come up with a different idea. Afterward, Momoteru decides to see what would happen in case he pretended to die in front of Yura. Just as he starts coughing, she commands him to shut up, and the only safe way for him now is heading out of the door. She decides to check and is shocked that he is coughing out blood, though it is just tomato ketchup. Seeing that he is still alive and well, she realizes that this is an act and instantly makes him face the severe consequences. After informing his friend about it, the other hardly seems surprised, as he expected the results. His next advice is that he should try waking her up from a deep slumber and pulling a trick on her. Momoteru already knows that it is going to prove costly, but anything to make it work out. As he wakes her up, he instantly tries pulling up a trick to surprise her but fails miserably. To disturb her sleep, she wants to assault him, but he tries, arguing that he did his best to restrain her while she was asleep in such a lewd pose. This just makes things worse for him. And now the other accuses him of being a creep and announces a harsh punishment for him. At the end, Momoteru realizes that perhaps his friend is the one who can't advise anyone properly and decides to never visit him again for this matter. On the other hand, the friend concludes that perhaps his wife is a person who cares for him deeply. As the crescent drifts the starry sky, a bear laments how his master has treated him badly. Suddenly, a voice, deep from the abyss, hears his pleas and answers his call. Hira is out on a night patrol and is interested in knowing his story. She asks whether the bear had a fight with its owner before proceeding to interfere in its life. Meanwhile, Momoteru's friend, Kintaro, seems to be drowned in despair. Hearing his lamenting cries, Momoteru decides to check up on him, and the other informs him that he has been in a fight with his bear, showing signs of visible rage. Kintaro regrets not forming such a strong bond with his bear and wishes he listened to his owner at least. Instead of a decent approach, Momoteru consoles him by telling him how meaningless it is to expect something in return from other people. Irritation is the only response Momoteru has ever gotten, and he will make sure that no one takes the same path as him. He affirms that he should just live his life the way he sees suitable, and this way, only peace will greet him. My guy, he is talking about a bear, not a person. However, his friend could see that his words had gotten weight ever since he married. And who else could be the sculptor behind it but Yura? Momo has realized that even after all this time of trying to get along with the people, it's just them trying their best to become what others expect of them to be rather than living their comfortable lives by being their own selves. That's especially what women are to him. Once again, the other tries telling him to calm down, bro, we are just talking about a bear. Just before he could open his mouth once again to spill wisdom out, Yura barges into the store, excitedly informing her husband that they have gotten themselves a nice dinner for them, the bear. Kintaro and the bear instantly apologize to each other, and Momo once again decides to share his wisdom with him by preaching how hard it is to lose your precious someone until you get them back. Kintaro has had enough of his bullshit and assures them that there isn't any way his bear is becoming their dinner. Will we ever get how Momo asked for her marriage in hand? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. For now, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content.